Now, rain continues to cause havoc in Gauteng and 4 other provinces. Many roads around the province have been closed, causing chaos to traffic. And I was mentioning a little earlier, as we start to approach, where are we, just before 2:30 this afternoon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, particularly here in Johannesburg, traffic certainly starts to build on the major arterials. Layton Beard speaks for the Automobile Association of South Africa. Layton, traffic, or the heavy traffic, will begin in the next hour or so, and you'll join us and tell us that it's absolutely critical that people in times like this, when the rain is falling and the roads are wet, that they try and observe the rules. But of course that doesn't always happen, does it?
No, unfortunately it doesn't always happen, Jeremy, and I think apart from observing the rules, drive to the conditions of the road. Look around you, make sure that you're aware of what other motorists are doing, and if it's difficult for you to see, drive slower. Obviously don't tailgate other drivers, but certainly with the traffic expected to pick up and with the weather getting worse, I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a challenge on the road, specifically in some of the big areas such as Cape Town, Durban and Gauteng.
Layton, what happens if you're caught in a flash flood and you are trapped in your car? What's the plan?
I think the biggest piece of advice that we will give, Jeremy, is that if you are in that situation, get out of your vehicle as soon as possible. Obviously unbuckle yourself and any passengers in that vehicle and get out of that car and ditch the car and save your life. Your life is obviously more important than any vehicle. So that's the biggest and most important piece of advice that we can give. Apart from that, we would suggest, if you can, obviously monitor radio and television news reports, traffic bulletins, keep an eye on what's happening on social media, specifically from organizations such as the AA, which gives out regular traffic reports on certain roads. Look at what's happening with the social media of the South African Weather Service, and if you can avoid those roads that are on your route that are potential problem areas for you, then rather take a long route home, take an extra hour or two to get home, than risk going through an area which is maybe very risky to do. If you see that there's a low-lying bridge that you've gone over many times before, don't attempt to go over it again. It may have deteriorated because of the wet weather over the last couple of hours. So be very careful in your drive home. If you can avoid those areas, avoid those areas. If you are in that flood situation, it's very important to get out of your vehicle and to save yourself. If you can, and if you have to go through a low-lying bridge or a body of water, we would suggest you put your car into first gear, go through that body of water extremely slowly as you possibly can, and get through it, negotiate through it very slowly. If you are washed away, again, I can't stress this enough, get out of your vehicle, ditch the car. Your life is more important than that vehicle.
And just finally, Layton Beard, I'm not expecting you to have come with a list of roads that are potential flashpoints, but I'm assuming that this is something that the Automobile Association does, and that you probably have a good sense of where the flashpoints are this early Friday afternoon.
Certainly some areas in Pretoria, some areas in Joburg, specifically the east of Pretoria. We're looking at areas in Centurion as well. We know that some sinkholes have developed, some areas in the Midrand area as well. Some potholes are getting bigger. That they were there a couple of days ago. They're obviously getting a lot bigger. I think for a more detailed list, people really do need to look at social media. I don't want to run through a list of all these potential areas, but if you are planning a route home, go onto social media, have a look at some of the sites that I've suggested, and plan a route home. If it's going to take you longer to get home tonight, then so be it. Rather do that than risk going through an area where potentially you may run into a bigger problem rather than getting home 2 or 3 hours later.
All right, live in Pretoria, Layton Beard from the Automobile Association. Thank you, and safe home to you as well.